So, it's been a while since we talked on Skype. If I recall correctly, you were like around 4K,
hmm
um, and you don't really know what role you want to play. I think is that right?
That's kind of true. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is mostly true. I don't think I want to get, play a specific role. I want to get I mean, I don't know if that's possible. It would probably be extremely time consuming to
Hmm.
get 5K while playing, like every role. But it's kind of what I want to do.
Okay, so I'll tell you right away that you're
But
definitely
you
right.
know what?
Uh,
Uh, I'm right. Half right.
yeah, you're pretty much right. It's time consuming unless you're a natural.
Okay.
Um, do you mind linking me your Dota buff really quick? Just so I can look at stuff. I
Because
mean,
so one of the things I want to figure out is what you think I'm good at and what I should focus on.
okay.
Um,
Sure. I'm not gonna be able to tell you that from one lesson, to be honest. Like I'm not gonna
okay.
bullshit you or anything.
Yeah,
It'd
that's
be
fine.
dishonest otherwise. So what I can, okay, so you linked me to the Dota Buff homepage.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I'll be able to look at like some games and see like, oh, you like playing this, and that, and like, okay, so from a couple of games, maybe you're good at this, but um, I'm not gonna be able to tell you what you're good at right away.
Yeah.
If anything, like you should just play what's fun for you. Like honestly, like it sounds like a bullshit answer, but
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's usually what I do.
yeah, that's usually like
Um,
what you're good at as well.
I've been finding Queen of Pain is pretty fun.
Okay, that's good.
So that's partly why like I want to focus on mid sort of, maybe
Okay,
probably.
sure. So is this your first account? I'm gonna share my
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Is it your only account?
Mhm. Well, I mean, I've smurfed it up a couple times, but that's like 10 or 20 games at most.
Okay, yeah, that's like nothing. Um, so the first thing that I see that is extremely alarming is that you have like weeks where you don't go where you don't get to play any games.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that like voluntary or
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's other games out there. I don't just play Dota.
okay? No, that's fine. So part of like what how do I say this without being like snobby? Part of like getting good at something is doing it over and over again, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's nobody out there that has played Dota, like 10 times. Like, hey, this is a great game. I think I want to be good at it, and then they just like play it once a week, and are naturals. Like, you can't get good at something unless you continuously practice it.
Yeah.
Even if you're someone who has like just a knack for fucking everything. Like I've met people that just like they can pick up drawing and they turn into like pretty decent artists in like a year of doing it. Or like people who play sports, they're just naturally good at everything. But yeah, I don't like those people. I don't think they could even pick up Dota and just pick it up and be like, oh wow, this game is really easy, man. Or just like 6K
Yeah.
after like 10 games. Um, so this is the first thing that's like extremely alarming to me, and I don't think that like maybe you like since you are 4K and you barely play realistically, or you've barely played in the past. That's good, and you probably do have a knack for the game, but you can't expect to get better if you don't play more. Like that's just the truth of it. There's nothing I can tell you that would be like, oh, okay, yeah, you can play once a week and not really practice that much, not try, and you'll get better. And I don't think you don't want to try. You don't pay money to like get coaching if you didn't want to try.
Yeah.
Um, but that's like the honest truth of it. Like I can't help you unless you play games or unless
hmm
you get more games
Yeah.
in.
Well, so I mean, yeah, that's true, and yeah, I probably need to play like 500 more games before I ever hit 5K or 1,000 or something like that. But this is still a way to make it easier for me, so I don't have to figure things out for myself. But
Okay.
of course, there's going to be like a huge element of just experience that I need to put in hours
Yeah, of course.
to to get where I want to be. But at the same time, yeah, like getting advice from someone who's much better than I is probably just a smart move.
Okay, that's true. So my first point of advice is if you want to get better, you need to play more. Now I know that's like
Yeah,
not
yeah.
helpful, but it's
It's a slow process.
yeah, it's a slow process, and you're making it way slower than it needs to be by just like going literally weeks without playing.
Yeah,
I understand like if there's work involved, like if you have like work or school or whatever that you need to
Mhm.
take care of,
Yeah.
obviously like that stuff has to take priority.
My
Um,
schedule's not really going to change.
yeah,
I'm always going to be like that. I'm going to play, maybe not even every day, and one or two games on the days that I play
Okay.
usually, and weekends would maybe be like five at the most. I can only handle so much Dota.
Okay, that's fine.
But I mean, it's a slow, steady process. But yeah, I just want advice on how to get better faster. I mean that's possible, right? Right?
I mean,
Like if I get the right advice, and I practice the things that need to be practiced instead of just playing random games and not really learning anything from them, I feel like that's
yeah, it's valid. Like
the
I
difference
can,
between learning on your own and going to school.
yeah, no, for sure. I definitely agree. Like, it's harder to learn calculus, from picking up a book and like, learning it Isaac Newton style by inventing it, or whoever the fuck invented it. But it's still like, I think what you're doing is fine, but you would benefit more from just playing than getting a coach. Like, that's that's just completely what I think. And like, I don't
So
know how to
what's
explain this.
shortcuts?
Um, you want shortcuts? Is that what you said?
Yeah, at
Uh,
life must has to be easy.
okay.
Pay to
So
win.
yeah, pay to win life. I mean, it
Yeah.
is to an extent, right? But yeah. So I mean, I can help you for sure. I can give you tips on practicing, how to practice efficiently and all of that. But I can't. I'm not gonna say like with my tips alone, like that's not gonna get you 5K. It's not gonna get you
Yeah.
4.5K.
Mm,
Um,
right.
you need to play more. That's like I don't know how to explain this.
No, I get
Other
it.
than that, okay.
I mean,
So
I feel. I mean, how many games would you say you've played of Dota, just in your life,
okay, so I've
your
been playing
Dota career?
Dota for 2 years, and this account has roughly 2,300 games, 2,400, and my other account has 1,300, and
Wow.
that's in
Okay.
2 years of playing, or less than 2 years actually.
Yeah,
So
that's compact.
yeah,
I've been playing Dota. I don't know, right about when it came out. I would say I
mm,
joined right before the second international. I think.
okay, yeah. So that's quite a long time.
Yeah,
Um, and like your
it's a slow
activity
burn.
log proves this. Um, so I mean, yeah, like my situation is also a little bit different because like I could literally play 10 games a day. So
Yeah.
like that's just kind of an advantage I have. Whether it's fair or unfair, someone else can decide that. But I did it, and that's how I got good. So that naturally, like when I try to tell people like how to get good or like how I got good, it's like I'm drawing on my own experience where like I just grinded really hard and tried every game to learn something new. Um, it's like it's hard for me to give you any advice on how to like get the most out of one game per week or something like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Because like I have no experience doing that at all. I can do my best. That's all I can offer you, really.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. That's
Okay.
good. That sounds great.
Okay. Cool. So with all that being said and out of the way, what role do you like to play the most?
Carry.
Okay. Great
Yeah.
answer. Yeah, that's fine. Um. Okay. So part of the only problem with that is like carry requires like decent mechanical skill, to improve. With last
Hmm.
sitting, just fighting in general, split pushing, all that stuff. Um. Do you have like 5 minutes per day where you could get on a computer, that personal computer
Uh,
anyway?
yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
What do you
if
mean?
that's the
Where's this
case,
going?
sorry, what?
This is 5 minutes per day. I'm on my computer like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
10 hours per day,
Oh, okay, no, that's fine.
or
Uh,
a computer.
so if that's the case, then like just try to find 5 minutes and do this thing. Like this is not an easy trick to get better, but it will help with muscle memory and shit like that. Just playing for 5 minutes will help you a lot. When it comes to Dota, like if you do this every day and just last hit with like your favorite hero or whatever.
Oh, you're streaming.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. I'm not streaming, just so you know. It's just a screen share.
Ah,
Uh,
right.
but yeah, so yeah, just do this. Pick your favorite hero or whatever. Turn off the help thing that's like on the side here.
Mm.
So just turn this off, and this will help a lot. Like if you, part of being good at Dota is like getting the basics down so well that you don't have to think about them anymore. So you don't have to like
Yeah.
think about how you're going to approach a lane or a CS or whatever. So this will help. Um, I wouldn't call it a shortcut because it involves playing every day, but at least it's not like a full game every day, and that's kind of like helping your situation.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not necessarily even about the time commitment.
Mm-hmm.
It's more just preference. I mean, I just bought Dark Souls 3, playing Ratchet
Mm-hmm.
and Clank. I was playing it just now earlier.
I
Uh,
see.
yeah, I enjoy Dota and I want to get good at it. And I think being better at it will help me enjoy it more. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's yeah, it's just going to be a really long process.
Okay, that's fine. As long as you accept that, it's okay. Like, who am I to tell you how to play or how to enjoy the game anyway? I do think that it is more fun when you get better, but yeah. Okay, so you like playing carry? That is good. What heroes in particular do you like playing? Is it like Wraith King, Chaos Knight?
Wraith King was the was probably I played that when I was like super scrub, like 1 to
Okay,
2K. I played that a lot, and since I have not a lot of total games played, it's basically that's somehow my highest.
okay,
Chaos Knight's one of my favorite heroes. Chaos Knight and Anti Mage definitely are up there.
okay.
Uh,
Sure. I mean, those are great
Sven
heroes.
too. I like
Yeah.
heroes with a lot of movement speed and the ability to like force enemies into bad positions, kind of.
No, me too, for sure. I like running fast. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah,
It just feels
and that's
nice.
why I picked up Queen of Pain recently.
Mhm. Do you play her mid?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Is there
Um,
another way to play Queen of Pain?
you can play her safe lane. It's actually pretty good.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
that's mostly for competitive games. But anyway, yeah. So why don't we jump into like a Sven replay or Jug replay? Um,
Let's do
one
my
of
recent Jug
these.
one, the one I lost.
Okay, sure,
That's a good one.
sure, sure. Open it up. All right. So a couple things that I see. You built Battle Fury S and Y, which is good. I like that. You're playing against OD. Okay. This would have been a good Manta game instead of S and Y,
Oh, really?
mainly because they have global silence. They have like a lot of different ways that you could use
Oh,
Manta.
yeah.
Like basically, global silence is a big one. If you get silenced, obviously it's not good for Jug, who's an ability-based hero for the most part. Do you want to be able to like purge it off in some way? Preferably not with a BKB, but yeah. So Manta would have been a better option here over
I didn't
S
know
and
it
Y.
purges off a silence.
Yep. No, it purges off like pretty much everything that's not a stun,
That's why I'm
or
4K.
like yeah, because you don't build Manta on Jug.
Yeah, I thought I
Yeah.
was better than I am, but I'm really just shit.
All because of Manta. No, but yeah. So Manta would have been a good option in this game. It would make a pretty big difference. You'd just be able to fight a little bit easier. Other than that, the build looks fine. Like you went Butterfly against a team of right clickers, so that's good.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
one good choice I feel like I made this game. My team was yelling at me towards the end to get a BKB, and so that's why I have the Mithril.
hmm BKB wouldn't have been bad. I think like if anything, you needed it just because they bought so many hexes. Like this is just a problem.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
like they have hex, so you need BKB at some point. They also have like a lot of stuns and stuff. So yeah, BKB is probably a good option. It's fine to get it late though, honestly. Like if anything, instead of getting the Scotty, I would get BKB.
Yeah,
And that would be
yeah. I
totally
got the
fine.
Scotty because I was just like, what else should I get? And
Yeah,
Scotty, because Scotty's always good.
yeah. Scotty's like never horrible, right? So yeah, so that's not a bad option. But BKB probably would have been better in this specific game.
Hmm.
Actually, this would have been a really good game for so Battle Fury into Manta into Blink into BKB. I think would be the ideal build up.
Oh
Just because
man.
like they have some really weird or they have some really squishy heroes that don't have many escape spells. So like
Hmm.
you could blink on Silencer for example, and what's his counterplay? It's like 4 staff away, and then you just chase him and kill him. Um, or like a teammate stuns you or something, or he gets astraled. Um, you could also do the same thing to Invoker, to Sand King if he doesn't have stun, all that stuff. So yeah, Blink would have been a good option in this game. BKB is good as well. Yeah, okay. So why don't we jump into it?
I also recently lost a game. I lost mid to a Zeus's Queen of Pain, which is supposed to not happen, I think.
No, it seems pretty accurate to me. Like Zeus, I think should win.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he just has too much damage. That's too easy to hit for Queen of Pain to play against. That's my experience anyway. I'm not sure how the matchup is supposed to go like in a vacuum, with two robots playing it, but I think that's the case. Or like if anything, Queen of Pain can kill Zeus at level 2 if she gets level 2 first and like double waves him and dives or something. But I'm pretty sure if Zeus plays safe, he just wins.
Okay.
It's certainly like it's an easier matchup for Zeus to play, even if it might be Queen of Pain favored. If that makes sense. Okay.
Zeus.
Okay. Super
Grace to
Jug.
you.
Starting items look fine. Alternatively, you could switch it up and go for 2 sets of tangos instead of the salve, but this is
It's
totally fine as well.
in the
You do
bag.
that against poking lanes rather than lanes that do a lot of all-in damage.
Okay.
So if I'm looking at these heroes, like actually, if you're looking at these heroes, regardless of like what's going on down on the minimap, what would you think their lanes are? Because it's actually pretty interesting.
Well, I mean, I was pretty sure it was going to be Weaver off lane, and the
Mhm.
rest of it was kind of up in the air. I wasn't sure who was going mid for them.
Okay.
It seemed like, yeah, I guess it would make sense that Invoker would go mid. OD would OD would go with Silencer in the top. Wait,
Mhm.
no, bottom, safe lane, and then Sand King's probably jungling.
Okay, yeah, that seems that's what I would guess anyway. Or they could do something like Weaver Silencer bottom and have OD solo.
But
But
usually in the beginning of a game, I'm not even thinking about that.
okay. That well, there's one thing to improve on is like you want to think about that stuff because that should
Yeah.
affect your item choices in a lot of games. Or maybe not really as carry because you pretty much just buy like stout shield and regen every game. But yeah, it might affect your lane whether or not you want to buy a salve or two sets of tangos instead. So if it's Weaver Silencer, if I think it's Weaver Silencer anyway, that's a very poke centric lane, right? Like they just have a lot of long
Yeah.
range right click damage. So I would go for two sets of tangos instead of the salve. And it doesn't make a huge difference, but it does make a difference. So thinking about that
30
stuff is good, I think.
seconds to battle.
Yeah.
Also, it just gets you like prepped for like thinking about team fighting and stuff later on. Okay. So one thing also that I want to touch on is when you're a carry or just anyone going in the safe lane, like a support. So you buy your items really quickly, and then the first thing you need to do is run down here and just stand here pretty much, or just even here is fine.
Okay.
But basically, that's just so like if this guy, he had a ward like a normal offlaner does, and he runs and places it here, you have vision of him. So you can tell your supports like, hey, this is warded, something like that. Like it's basically just like information gathering. That's important. Doing stuff like that makes Dota a lot easier. So that's kind of what I teach in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Usually
yeah.
I find out something's warded after the fact. I mean,
Yeah.
like a few minutes into the game.
Yeah, so there's a lot of preventative work you can do to prevent that kind of stuff. So it's good.
The battle begins.
Ursa is jungling, I think.
And sweet.
Okay, that's fine. First thing you should do is run to the lane and block. Looks like you're gonna do that. Yeah, excellent. Okay. So pretty much the only thing you have to worry about in this lane is keeping the creeps like back towards your tower. This is a pretty easy lane since it's just a solo weaver and you have Lion, zoning him here. So I mean, it should be fairly easy anyway. Okay. Yep, you're denying. That's good. Okay, so there's actually going to be something bad happening here unless it changes. Okay. No, it's going to work out. That's fine. But basically, like, there's a situation that occurs sometimes where this range creep, if you don't de-aggro it and it keeps hitting you, that's when it can become a really big issue because, like, your range creep will get a HP advantage on this range creep.
Oh yeah.
And that will cause the lane to push, assuming it doesn't get below half. So it actually was fairly close. It was like 2 right clicks away from that. So it's good that you de-aggroed, but that's just something you should be conscious of in this case.
Okay. Yeah.
It's fine. Also, one thing to note is like you didn't click on the Weaver when you went into lane, so that's just more information you can gather. You can see he has very
Yeah.
little stats and
That's
very
true.
little regen.
Yeah. That's
So-
one thing I need to improve on a lot. Is I don't check enemy items enough.
Yeah, no, it's super important. Like pretty much all throughout the game. If you watch any pro player play, they're like constantly looking around and like making boxes around heroes, selecting them, seeing who has what, like just doing this, just checking things out. Even if they're like not even actively looking for anything in particular, they're just taking in information because it doesn't hurt them, right? Like there's nothing bad that could come out of doing this. Like if you have full control over your hero, anyway.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times I wouldn't be able to use that information very well
Why is that?
because I'm scrub.
Okay. You can't just be resigned to that. Like, what the heck? It's like, well, I was born worse than everybody else, so I won't be able to do it. But no, that's not true. Like, maybe you can't use this information. Like maybe you can't, get anything out of, OD going for Mantle and Circlet and Tangos or whatever, and Sounds are doing the same thing for whatever ungodly reason. But it's still important to gather it, right? Like, it's you don't have to gain anything from this, but you do have to like be able to look at them and say like, or identify key items anyway. So like, let's say Silencer has a ward on him, and then he like disappears into the jungle or whatever. You can say like, oh, maybe Silencer, dropped his ward or something like that. Or more importantly, like, oh, Invoker has his Yules, so I need to keep that in mind. Or I don't know, Weaver has a Lincoln Sphere, so I need to keep that in mind. Like you can start with the basic big items before you jump into like
Yeah,
the nuanced stuff.
that I can do.
Yeah. So I mean that's fine. That's a good start. It's just like you want to keep improving if you can. Yeah.
And this lane is slowly pushing.
Yes. So it probably happened while I was talking, but that is a very big deal. So here you had a double range creep. Let's look. So it pretty much is because of this right here. I'm pretty sure because this is going to get a lot of hits off, but we'll try to see the actual cause. Okay. So there's actually a couple things. So right here, you want to be careful not to tank the extra hit from the range creep that's coming in. So right here, okay, this is actually a more important thing to talk about. So let's look at the HPs of your creeps and of the enemy creeps. So right now, Lion messes with the aggro a little bit. That's fine. It's going to happen. When you kill this creep, what are these two creeps going to attack next?
Me.
Yep. And that means they're not attacking your range creep, and that means your range creep is attacking them, but their range creep is not attacking your range creep. In this case, like you de-aggro, so they just hit each other. But even still, that's something to think about. So you never want to be in a position where you're going to be the next target for the creeps if you still have creeps alive. That way, like you don't mess up the equilibrium. Also here, you end up taking one ranged attack from the oncoming wave, which is actually pretty impactful. See right here. So this guy attacks you, and he's not he didn't use that attack on one of these creeps, so it slows it down their DPS a little bit. Might not seem like much, but it does matter. Okay. So here you end up killing their range creep before yours dies. And in this case, like you didn't have to, because it wasn't going to die, right? Like the creeps weren't magically just going to switch. So like nothing is hitting this one here. Actually, this range creep is hitting this one. Oh no, so okay, so that's incorrect. So this range creep was hitting this one, so that's totally fine. I think
Yeah, if I had killed my range creep first, though, it would have been safe.
Yeah. Yep. So like a nothing would be targeting it after that point. So at that point, like you could cause the wave to push a little bit back to you just by doing that. But now here you have two range creeps. Even just for a couple seconds, they're hitting the enemy melee creeps. So naturally, that's going to cause an HP advantage on your side. And you even make up for this by just denying a little bit. I'm curious to see what happens and why this is double waved. That might be it right there.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I really wanted to kill that Weaver.
Yeah, with his very powerful right clicks. So yeah, so this is actually like the big deal, or the biggest thing here, is because like the wave was in such a like neutral state, like it was very even, and then Lion messes up the equilibrium a little bit. That causes the wave to push, because like now your two creeps are going to focus this range creep, and it's just going to get like destroyed. And it's going to be especially bad when you kill this creep here, and maybe even the second one. I'm not sure what happens, but that's going to cause like your range creep to be alive and the melee creep to be alive. So yeah, now these two are just going to be alive into the next wave, and it's going to build up. So now it's pretty quickly pushing actually. You can still recover by pulling, but if anything, I want to say like this might be solved by just keeping it farther back in the first place, and that way if Lion goes to trade with Weaver, he's less likely to be near the creeps, if that makes sense. But you had some ways to recover from this. So basically, like okay, so this is just a bug. You're not actually spinning, but when Lion aggroes these creeps, you don't have to attack them. Basically, like they're not deniable, so you don't have to worry about Weaver taking them from you, and your creeps aren't attacking them, so you still don't have to worry. But basically, you just need to realize that they're very low, and like the lane is in a volatile state at that point. Like it's very close to being pushed, and that's not good. Weaver's going to get XP that way, or at least a much easier XP. Okay, so here you end up spinning. This is a pretty big waste of mana, but basically it's just like knowing the cooldowns or the effects of spells kind of thing. So like let's look at Lion Stun. So it lasts 1.1 seconds, right? Which is like nothing, pretty much. It's good. It's a respectable stun for sure, but not at level 1 really. It's useful, but it's not like the best killing spell in the world. So basically, unless you're right on top of Weaver, and even then, like unless unless you're right on top of him and he already used Shikuchi, you have no way of killing him really. And even then, it's pretty tough. So basically, like you spend the entire stun duration just running to this guy. So there's no way you were actually going to get on top of him and do a ton of damage. Never mind the fact that he has Shikuchi up. Okay. So rather than doing that, you should just control the wave a little bit more. Okay.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I missed these.
I mean, obviously that's a big deal, right? But it's a lot less helpful for me to say like, oh, you should have last hit those than it is like, talk about other stuff. So I'm not not gonna grill you for that. But yeah, you obviously want to go for CS whenever you can, or get CS whenever you can. Here's a pretty good opportunity for you to pull and like get the wave back. So not a lot of carrier players will do this, but it is actually pretty
Radiant's
important
middle
because you're able
tower
to.
is under attack.
So what you do is you eat one of these trees, or you don't even have to do that. But you basically just pull this oncoming creep wave into the neutral camp, or other way around. Sorry, the neutral camp into the oncoming creep wave. So right here would have been a good time for Lion to do it, or you, if you ran this way. And you can just pull it down here at 22 seconds, or anytime after that through this path. Yeah, and that will reset the aggro, and that'll be good.
Okay, yeah, I need to do that more.
Yeah, whenever you mess up the equilibrium, well, preferably you actually shouldn't ever have to do this, but sometimes you will have to. It's kind of like going to the hospital. Like I don't know if you've heard the joke that they make every time you leave the hospital. I hope I never see you again. Like I've heard that a million times, but it's kind of like the same thing, right? Like this is a damage control kind of thing. So you don't want to have to do this, but it is important to know how to do it just in case.
Yeah.
It's also good in those situations where like where Lion messes up the equilibrium. You can recover. You're not like just doomed forever. So yeah. All right.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking of the situation in terms of. I mean, I'm just trying to get farm, and basically that's all I'm thinking about. Lane equilibrium is something I usually try to control, but getting it back in check is not. It's not something I usually deal with.
Yeah, it has to be like your primary concern, especially in like lanes where you're outnumbering your opponent. So in this case, Weaver has no chance of laning against you guys. Well, okay, so I should rephrase. He has no chance of getting a lot of farm against you guys, just because like Jugg is a great last hitter, and they do have you do have kill potential. If Lion gets Hex and all that, he has to be really careful. So when he gets the opportunity to last hit here, even if he doesn't take the opportunity and like have any success, it's still like potential for him to get farm that he shouldn't. On paper anyway. So it's definitely your job as a carry to control the equilibrium and make sure that it stays back in a safe position and a position that's difficult for the enemy offlaner to get farm. If that makes sense, like that's part of your job.
Yeah.
That's a big way of how you win games. Actually, it's just by controlling the equilibrium, getting a ton of farm. Yeah, you basically want to make this guy's life really hard because it's really easy for you in a lot of cases. Now it's different if it's a dual lane, but the idea is still the same. Okay. Okay, so here you don't have to worry about the equilibrium too much just because there's an enemy catapult, so it's going to do a lot of damage naturally. Okay, definitely, this doesn't matter here because they have a catapult, but definitely avoid this situation here where, like, you're going to be the next target.
Oh.
So you get the last hit, that's fine, but you don't want to go for this deny just because, like, you're going to be the next target for these two. So,
Okay.
like, it's not going to make a difference in this case, but if this catapult wasn't here, then your creeps would die, less quickly, and like their creeps would die more quickly. So if that makes sense, this wouldn't be as good of a scenario if that were the case. Okay. Okay, this is all fine. You gotta be a little careful now, though. Okay. It's probably not a kill. Basically, like, this isn't a kill, unless you guys go for, like, a level 5 spike or something like that. You just don't have the damage output. It has to be, like, Weaver initiates on you and gets out of position. And,
yeah.
you attack him and then spin afterward. But yeah, so that's whatever. I don't like your skill build, though. So, if you look at the way Blade Dance scales, like our scales rather, with levels, it's good, but it's not that great
Yeah,
early on. Like the first point compared to the second point is ridiculous, right? Like 20% compared to 25%, huge difference for the same amount of skill points. So generally, it's better to go for like 4-1-1 instead of going for like 2-0-2 or 4-0-2 like you're gonna do now. If that makes sense. Just because like Healing Word provides a lot of value as well. Even if you're limited on mana, it's still an extremely good spell. So you don't want to skip out on it in most cases. Yeah. Okay, so that's something you want to avoid right there, where you tank the range creep. But it's okay because there's this, catapult saving grace here. This wave is going to push on you really hard, and it's going to get to your tower, so that's a big deal. Okay. So this is like the opposite effect of like what we talked about earlier, where like 2 range creeps on your side build up. In this case, like 2 enemy range creeps build up. So in this case, what you want to do is trim the wave, or like or cut it down a little bit. So
Should I spin?
no, no, that's like chopping it out at the root. We're trying to get a nice trim going. So basically, like since their creeps outnumber you by a lot, like they have 3 melee creeps, you have 3 melee creeps, but they have 1 range creep and a catapult. Basically, if you just kill one of their range creeps, the lane will slow down. Like it won't push nearly as hard. So when this rolls in and everything settles, you just start attacking one of the range creeps right away. So ignoring this attack right here, you'd go right now and just hit this creep here. And just
Yeah,
try to
it's
kill
too
it.
focused on the denies. I like to get my numbers up.
Yeah. Well, numbers are good and all, but like this is more practical. This will turn into more numbers if you do this, because like now what's going to happen here is the lane's going to push into your tower unless you choose to tank it. Then your HP numbers will go down, or you'll have a harder time last sitting on your tower, and it's eventually going to mess up the equilibrium as well. So yeah, basically like long story short is you want to make sure you're not running into the situation where the enemy creeps are running into your tower if you're against a solo. Because now the equilibrium is a little bit more tricky to control. Basically, the trick is just like try to have the enemy creeps, or try to make it so that the enemy creeps have 1 more creep than you do, if that makes sense. So like 1 extra range creep or 1 extra melee creep, something like that, rather than having like a range creep and a catapult creep, or like a melee creep and a range creep, something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and yeah, here
Okay.
I am spinning.
Yep, that's fine. So, well, this isn't fine, but it's not the worst. So basically, like, you just gave Weaver a lot of XP for free. And you used a lot of mana to do that. So it's just not a high-value play. Generally, when you see Jugg spin in lane, it's because they already have an Aquila and a Ring of Perseverance, or a Perseverance or whatever. And they spin the wave, then they go to a jungle camp, then they do this jungle camp, and then they go back to lane and spin, and they repeat the cycle, so on and so forth.
Okay.
It's never just to do 1 creep wave, or almost never. There's usually like some hidden motive, or maybe like you'll see a really good Jugg player have a TP on him, and he'll just start spinning in a wave when it's in the mid game, and he'll TP out at the same time, or he'll go to another lane or something like that. But yeah, you almost never want to just do that in lane. Yeah, it's pretty advanced. It's pretty easy to apply though. It's not like a very technical skill. Okay. Okay, so just looking at your CSing, it is something you can improve on as a player. And I'm glad I brought it up beforehand. Like basically, if you're in a lane like this where you're literally free farming, you're supposed to get around like 65 to 72. 72 is perfect for just lane creeps in the side lanes. Wow. At 10 minutes. So you're not really close to that benchmark right now. Even if you got every last hit from here on out, you would not be able to hit it. So that's a big deal. I'm not expecting you to be able to do that with a day of practice or whatever, but it is something you should work towards, just because it's free gold, right? If this guy is not contesting you for any creeps and you're not getting the gold, that's on you, right? That's something that you can directly improve. And gold makes playing carry pretty easy, right? That's the whole idea.
Mm.
So that's a big deal, I think. I think you would benefit a lot from just practicing CSing. And it might seem stupid because these guys aren't that far behind, or they aren't that far ahead or anything. The highest in the game is Invoker with 43, and that's not very good. But he's also mid, so it's a little different. But yeah, so maybe your CSing is average for your MMR, but it could be better with just a little bit more practice.
Okay, yeah, that's an easy thing to focus on. Well, maybe not, but I mean.
Well, I mean, theoretically it is, right? It's just last sitting, so. Yeah. So here, this would be a good time to start trimming the wave as well. It looks like you do it here, which is fine. You just want to make sure you're not tanking the creep like this, and I'm not sure what causes this. Guess you attack. Oh, okay. So basically what causes this is you're just the next target available for that range creep, and you also happen to be attacking an enemy unit during this time. I don't think you actually click on the Weaver, because that would mean that yeah, you don't. Okay, so that would mean that the other creeps would aggro as well. So what happens here is like you're just the next available target. So and you're also issuing an attack command. So this guy is defending his buddy, so to speak. That's what the AI is doing anyway. So that's why it starts aggroing you. Again, you have the catapult here, so it ends up saving you. But yeah. Okay. Also, yeah, make sure you go like 4-1-1 skill builds on Jugg in most cases. Then you can go into either 4-4-1 if you're fighting a lot, or 4-1-4 or whatever. Yeah.
4-1-4 if you're doing what would that be? Like if you're just farming passively?
Yeah, if you're just farming. I go 4-1-4 most often, just because I go Battle Fury like and then Yasha item almost every game. So you'll probably be fine just doing that. I'd say the 4-4-1 build is more for competitive play, which I wouldn't worry about. Okay, it's gonna push here. Yeah, you can't salvage this. The only way you salvage this is by pulling here. Like basically, as soon as you tank this range creep, it's pushed, and you're not gonna do anything about it. Actually, it's before this. So pretty much, when you kill this creep here, you're basically resigning the lane to a push. There's nothing you could do right now that would prevent this from pushing. At least not to my knowledge. I guess
us or towards Weaver?
Towards Weaver, towards the enemy team. So
okay.
Basically, that's just because like the melee creeps are going to meet here, and there's nothing you could do about that except block. So you'd have to have a lot of foresight to do that. Or yeah, that's pretty much it. So now you're going to have 2 range creeps no matter what you do. Especially when you start killing the catapult creep. So this is a big deal, actually. Basically, just like... Actually,
yeah, I think I identified that this was going to happen, and I just went ham and just started killing everything.
Holy shit, he just dies. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's a good way to recover, right? But it's not something that you can rely on. Like, that's his mistake. It's good that you capitalize on it, don't get me wrong. That's great. But, like, if he were smart, all he would have to do is stay really far back, and he would get a lot of EXP. He didn't have to, you know, feel pressured to get XP there, because it was going to come to him no matter what. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's good that you took the opportunity. No, that is great.
But that's just like a little bonus thing.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it's a big bonus. Like killing him is great, but it's still it's reliance on him kind of like making a pretty huge mistake, in my opinion, anyway. Doesn't make it a bad play by any means, but yeah, it's like there's poor preparation involved, I guess, is a good way to describe it.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Okay. So you went with Perseverance first. Generally, I recommend going with Aquila after your phase. I think it's just too high value of an item to pass up. You can go Perseverance right after that, especially if you're going for Battle Fury, but yeah. I recommend just picking it up beforehand. I think the extra HP is really nice, helps you farm. The extra mana is incredibly nice on this hero, so yeah.
Money changes
hands. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Gotta be really careful here. Yeah, you got out-traded really hard. So this is like a fundamental thing. Basically, like, right here, you're putting yourself in a position where you're going to be tanking a lot of creeps, and you don't have that much armor to begin with.
Top tower is under attack.
So, under normal circumstances, when you didn't just kill this guy, this would be a horrible, horrible play. Like, he could kill you here, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why he's not, actually. Technically, Lion could put a sentry down and he would save you, but if this was a 1v1 scenario, you would just die.
Yeah, I think I was counting on the Lion stunning him, hexing him, and then ulting.
Okay.
So that's probably why I did that.
Okay, that's fine if that's what you were actually thinking. If that's what you were thinking and you paid attention to his positioning, then that's totally fine. I have nothing to say to that. So that's fine. But you do understand what I mean when I say that. Like, this would be a horrible trade under normal circumstances.
I mean, if it was just 1v1 thing, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because like you're tanking 4 creeps here, and you also have Gemini on you, and Weaver's also hitting you, and it's not like you can just like outdamage all this. So yeah. You definitely would have died here in a 1v1 scenario. So it's not bad if you were paying attention to Lion's positioning, but yeah. Also, you might...
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Okay. So Lion hits one of his CCs. That's good. You should still die though, yeah. Okay.
I think Lion has his stun up when he didn't use it.
No, he used it earlier.
Oh, did he?
Yep. He hexed a creep, and then he used stun right here.
Oh, not stun. I mean, ult. He had... Oh, he might not have had mana.
He has no mana. Yep.
Yeah, that sucks. Could have been a kill.
Yep. That's something you can check though beforehand. And also, like, this wouldn't have happened. Like, you have no chance of dying if you just don't do this trade initially. So even though you were relying on line or being there or whatever, it's still a bad trade because you're just trading so much HP for nothing, right? Like, what did you get out of that trade beforehand? You know, like some damage on him? Like I don't know. Like, trading 100 damage for, you know, 400 damage doesn't make any sense, right?
I guess I'm not sure.
Yeah, so, like, it's fine. I don't expect you to think about that stuff during the game, but just basically, like, long story short is don't try to take unfavorable trades. There's no reason for it. Just push the wave or something like that. Yeah, so you could this death could have been very easily avoided if you hadn't gone for that, like, really aggressive play for no reason. Yeah. Okay. So, I wish... Okay, so this is like an awareness thing. So basically, I want to see what you did before you TP'd actually, because that's important.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So that's a big mistake. Is like when you are basically any hero and you're TPing somewhere, before you TP, you want to like double check all the lanes just to make sure you're not missing an opportunity.
Okay,
Here you just don't look at anything and you TP bottom. And then you also don't move your camera really, so you don't really know what's going on in the lane. You end up looking at the tower and you click on silencer, which is good, but like you didn't see that the tower was very low and you might have been able to go for a last hit or whatever. You feel me? So like you probably wouldn't have done it, but yeah, that's still an important information to gather.
I see what you're saying.
Bottom tower has fallen.
Yeah.
Okay. So right about now you should buy Quelling Blade. Since
I don't know why it took me so long to get that.
Yeah. It's fine to go for phase boots first, like since you're fighting people, but still. Yeah, that's something you want to buy. So let's look at this. Okay, yeah, this was fine. You waited until Silencer was out of the creep wave, so yeah, that's totally fine.
There's a fine line between bravery and stupidity.
Okay. That was a little sloppy.
Oh yeah, I should be spinning.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah, Lion yelled at me for that.
I don't know if you guys would have actually killed him, but if you had max spin, probably. I think the real issue here was like the way you approached it. Basically, like it was a very low DPS approach. So first things first, you cancel your first attack here. Oh, actually, you might have canceled it too. Okay, yeah, you actually end up canceling 3 attacks, or 2 attacks. Yeah. So that's a lot of DPS lost already, right? Then you end up going for more attacks. So generally in situations like this, since spin does more damage than your right clicks at this point in the game, like it does, I think, yeah, 775 damage, you know, before magic resist. Since you can't do that much damage with right clicks, the way you approach this is you attack first and then cancel the backswing of the attack with spin.
Okay.
Because, like, you know, every attack has a backswing animation, right? Like, it has, like, that low period.
I don't ever cancel it. That's not something I've ever really practiced, but I know about it.
Okay. You really don't cancel it even with, like, movements?
Okay, well, maybe movements. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe,
no, that's fine then.
I don't think about it. Let's put it that way.
Okay. That's fine then. Yeah.
Maybe I'm already really good at it.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, like, I didn't notice any, like, glaring errors in this, like, in your movements in lanes, so... I mean, it's probably fine, but you can always cancel with spells too. And that's usually the highest DPS approach to most things. At least with Jugg. But yeah, so that would have probably been a kill, because he got pretty low if he had just spawned right away after 1 attack.
Denied.
Good. Alright. Normally I recommend buying the Claymore first, like just saving up the money, just because like you can always buy the broadsword at the side shop.
Yeah.
So like this is much closer than, you know, sending the courier out, so it's more efficient.
Interesting.
You know, it takes less time, so that's what I recommend personally.
Yeah, when I play anti-mage, I always get the Claymore, whichever one you get at the side shop. I always buy that one first, actually.
Oh, you buy the broadsword first. Oh, interesting.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, so that actually makes a big difference. Like, you get your battle period, like, you know, 30 seconds slower in that case. So that's a big deal. Like, that's something you could fix very easily. It's just by saving up for the Claymore.
Because it's kind of seems like it would just be the same.
Oh, well, no, because you have to think about it this way. Like, unless you're physically TPing back to base to get it, that's still inefficient. But the courier, like, it has to take your item from here all the way to here. It has to physically travel this time, right? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you have your battle fury on the courier. Like nobody fucking cares. Like to be frank, like it doesn't matter. The game doesn't care. Nobody cares. Like your teammates, they don't care about the timing. They shouldn't care either. So just because you have the battle fury on the courier, if it's going to travel for 30 seconds, like who cares if you have it?
Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense? Whereas like
It
if
does.
you get it like 30 seconds earlier, like oh okay, you know it's pretty fast.
Radiant's top tower is under
Yeah.
attack.
Also, if you think I'm being rude or whatever, just tell me. Like I'm usually pretty blunt with stuff. Yeah. So if it's a
You're
problem,
good.
let me know. Okay. Okay. So now is about the point where like you can't really zone out Weaver. So the best thing for you to do is just push the wave really hard and then go jungle. So just kind of start getting into this cycle where you push the lane, go do jungle camps, like preferably just these two. Cut down some trees, make your way through, and then just go back to lane when it comes back. Basically, you do this until there's a fight that you can TP to, or you can push the tower when Weaver leaves or something, like that. T1's already down, so it's kind of different, but yeah.
Double kill.
Okay.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So I'm pretty sure you guys did not have vision on this guy. Yeah, it's just messed up. Okay, whatever, that's fine. Not much you can do about that.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Ah!
You alright?
Yeah, I just closed the window
Okay.
while sitting. It was far away.
That's tricky.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Alright.
Radiant's top tower has fallen. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under structures are fortified.
Why did you go to this camp instead of the hard camp?
Because I can spin to win.
I see. Okay.
Stack and spin. I don't know. I'm not sure about the efficiency of one versus the other.
Okay. So usually the hard camp is better than the small camp. The small camp is just like not very high value. It'd be more efficient for you to do this camp and then run away from it so it respawns in the next minute. So you know there's another camp here. Then you could kill the centaur, then go to the small camp, then go back to the hard camp or go to lane or whatever. Yeah, basically like these creeps always give more gold than these creeps. Let's just see how much gold this gave you. It's actually like in most cases, if you can trade the small camp for a bounty rune, it's usually better to go for the bounty rune. It's just like this camp is not very high value.
Okay.
So like let's look at. I guess actually the gold values don't really matter. If I just tell you that, you get like 20 gold per creep. That looks like 28, 27. Yeah, just about that. You get 30 for one. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not bad to do this by any means, but it's more efficient to do the hard camp and then like have it respawn the next minute. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Probably another reason I chose not to do that was because I was scared of Weaver.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to be really.
No.
Like he can't kill you at any point.
Dire's
Even with
top
global
tower is
silence.
under
Like
attack.
the only heroes you have to be scared of are like Weaver plus one of these stunners, like Invoker or Sand King.
Yeah. And my lack of clicking on other lanes and knowing what's happening kind of makes me unsure about who's where.
Yeah.
So I usually just play safe in these kinds of
Radiant's
situations.
bottom tower
Yeah,
is
and,
under
like,
attack.
Safe is not bad. It's never horrible, but there are many times where you can't play safe if you want to win.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
That's like a big
Dire's
difference
middle
between
tower
a
is under
5k player and a
attack.
4k player. It's just like the 5k player realizes more often than not when he is safe or when he is able to play aggressively and like make something happen. Whereas a 4k player might do what you're doing and just like stick to farming neutral camps, which isn't bad. Like that's not bad at all. Like you're getting golden XP, so I can't say it's like a bad play, but it's not the best play.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like you're not really at risk when these guys are just like doing everything here. You shouldn't feel the need to go to a neutral camp or whatever.
Oh yeah. My team yelled at me here also because I didn't have a TP scroll.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that you could actually do anything here. But you should have a TP scroll. They're right about that. But TPing here would just be stupid, to be honest.
Radiant's top
I guess if you have
tower
Zeus
is
ult,
under
it
attack.
could be different. Yeah, okay, TPing right here would be excellent. Like this would be really good because you have another core here, like another body. So that would be a really good play. And you guys could just go and crush these guys. But oh, what the fuck was that? All right, whatever. So yeah, you should definitely like just make it a habit even before you get your battle fairy. Just after you get like phase and Aquila, you should just buy a TP. Actually, like just even go further than that and just say like when you get level 6, you should have a TP because that's when you can
Yeah.
just like kill any hero you want really. You know, depending on certain abilities and all that. But yeah, I'm not saying like buy a TP and then use it immediately. Just like buy it so you have it in case like a situation like happens where your offlaner gets dove by the carry or something. You can just go in and kill him.
Radiant's bottom
Something
tower
like that.
has
That'll help a
fallen.
lot. Okay. So here you pull the wave back, which is fine. I would go for the deny on the tower here. It's pretty important.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower
I think
has
I didn't
fallen.
know that it was that low until too late.
Okay. So that's definitely an awareness thing then. Get a nice look at things going. Excellent.
My team loves me.
Yeah, that is a good feeling. Just getting pings like
Radiant's
that.
top
Excellent
tower
stuff.
is under attack.
If anything though, they're not too wrong. Like basically like even though what they just did up here was really bad, like they went for this bad fight, you could have recovered a little bit by pushing another lane. So like, these guys committed 4 heroes top and your team lost the fight, yes, but you could have been pushing mid or pushing bottom out and like contesting the Weaver or something like that.
Yeah.
But instead you got some jungle camps, which isn't horrible, but it's not a game-winning decision, right?
Radiant's top tower
It's certainly
has
not
fallen.
going to positively affect the outcome of the game, if that makes sense. Like really playing carry and just Dota in general is all about pushing creep waves and getting vision, applying pressure. That's like the essence of Dota, really. I mean, you could probably break it down into more fundamental skills, but really that's what it's about, more than anything. Okay, this is just something that you can't go for. Like, not only does he have a blink, he also has astral. So if you ever go to Omni slash him, he just astrals, and you can't kill him. Yeah. So you shouldn't go for this in the first place, but it's okay. You end up actually missing a lot of creeps because of this. Like this is a lot of gold.
Invisibility.
Roshan has Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Myself a worthy foe.
Roshan has fallen
The
to the
first
Radiant.
bear burns immortal in me.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Okay,
attack.
that's good on me. You should have just spun here though. Like just stick and spin, and this guy does. Oh, he doesn't die, but he can't do anything.
A worthy foe.
He basically has to leave Sandstorm. You definitely should not die here. Okay, that's fine.
A double damage.
Okay. Yep, that's totally fine. I was gonna say you should have spun just because it's like a defensive and offensive play at the same time, but the healing ward is actually a good choice just because you can farm afterward. I don't know if that was your plan, but that's okay. But yeah.
It's hard to say now.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Okay, so you go push bottom lane.
Dire's
This is
middle
great.
tower is under attack.
You want to push it out even more though.
Dire's
Okay, yeah.
middle
So that's a
tower
mistake
is
here.
under attack.
Basically, like any time your team is doing this kind of thing, if there's no threatening hero on the map, or there's no threatening hero that's staying off the map and hiding, then you want to be pushing. Like you want to be pushing a lane. Like lane's always more important than neutrals, just because of the pressure factor. Never mind the fact that you get more gold and EXP from lane creeps. These guys are what win you games as a carry. Like nothing else matters as much. Like I'm not saying don't do jungle camps. Just these are like a sub objective, I guess, compared to the lane creeps. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say about this. It was just like a reactionary thing. It's kind of hard to tell that there's going to be a deafening blast coming out of fog. So
Should
if
I
you,
have spun?
yeah, if you spin, then like it'd be fine. I don't think you spin unless you see that. It actually wouldn't be horrible, but I don't think you do just because you need it for defensive purposes. So I think if anything, just like be conscious of the fact that Invoker and OD were around here at some point, like 30 seconds ago, so they could be around here as well, and just be ready to like spin a tornado or in this case a deafening blast, something like that. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it.
Dire's top
It's pretty
tower
tough
is
though,
under
honestly.
attack.
Because like technically, if you spin here, like and you go for the spin on the silencer, worst case scenario is like Invoker waits and deafening blasts you afterwards, and like yes, you kill a silencer, but then you get deafening blasted with no way to recover, and he just combos you, or he heals you even worse after your spin and just like fucking one shots you. Like that's the absolute worst case scenario. Then you just trade your life for a silencer, and that who cares about that guy. So I don't think spinning here was actually the play, despite the fact that it would get you a kill guaranteed. Okay.
Dire's middle tower is fortified.
Okay. Yeah, definitely need to be looking at team fights that happen like that. Also, the first thing that you need to do is, like, when something like this happens and you decide not to fight, you need to run to another lane and just start pushing it. Like, basically, when these guys are all grouped up, the most annoying thing for these guys to see is Juggernaut hitting their 2-2 tower, right? Like, it's just so fucking annoying, because they have to TP someone back. Like, they don't want to do that. They want to go push. So, you need to, like, try to think ahead and do this kind of thing beforehand. As long as you have a TP, it'll be totally fine.
No more from me. Jugg. No more from me. I've got them. May I cut in?
Okay, so that's just ambitious. So you would have killed him if he didn't use, but he has so many different ways to counterplay this that it's not feasible at all. It looks like you end up killing him anyway. Yeah, you do. Okay.
I think I die.
Yeah, you're probably gonna die. Okay, yeah, you get out. So that was a good play.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, that was a fine play, but it literally only worked out because this guy has like grandpa reaction times. Like he could have just healed himself right away, or even just invoke Ghostwalk and do that. He took way too much damage from the Omni Slash, for it to be real. I mean, it worked out in this case, yes, but if this guy's a little bit faster, then you just waste your Omni Slash. Not much you can really do about it. So yeah, just I wouldn't go for this guy in the first place. If anything, you can just hit him and, try to force his heals that way. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're at about that time where we should like start wrapping things up. Do you have any final questions? Anything like that?
How does? Let's see.
Yeah, no, I know it's hard.
How to phrase it so I don't look like a complete moron? How does my carry play look? I mean, like how? I don't know.
It looks like you are a 4K player.
Okay.
Like I know that's like kind of a cop-out answer, but like here are a list of reasons why. You don't prioritize pushing lanes. You do a lot of neutral camp farming, which isn't bad. You're at least farming. But yeah, the pressure thing is what will separate you from, being a 5K player or something like that. You also tend to miss a lot of CS in lane, which matters quite a lot.
Months ago, I was thinking that because I got calibrated for at 4K roughly. I think it was like 3.9 or something, but and I was 4K at some point. I've lost it all since then. I got calibrated for that like almost 2 years ago, I think. And I kind of just assumed that I would be higher. I assumed that I would be better, but it seems like I haven't actually improved a bunch, or at all.
Yeah.
I play too much ability draft.
Jesus. Yeah. I mean, maybe. Honestly, though, like, if you're gonna take away anything from this, like, and I know it's probably something you already knew, if you want to get better at Dota, you need to play more. That's the bottom line. I don't think there's any human in the world that could do what you're doing and get better at like a reasonable rate. Like that's me being completely honest. Like I don't know how else to tell you that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's I like that. That's okay. I want to hear advice that will work.
Yeah. And yeah, playing more will work. If you play like this and you don't play Dota like at all, which you don't basically, like you do, but you really don't. If you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
I don't want to say you'll be like a 5K player by any means, but you definitely have like potential to be if you're someone who plays like this without practice. Like you seem to be someone who played a lot of video games at least, so like using a mouse and keyboard is comfortable for you, something like that. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, I mean no, you're not wrong.
Okay, yeah. So like I mean I can tell that much just from watching you play and seeing the activity log. I'm not gonna say like you'll be a pro player by any means, but you'll definitely be better than 4K if you practice every day. I can 100% guarantee you that. As long as you're not like.
Do you think if I played one game a week, I would hit 5K in 10 years? Do you think that could happen, or would I just stay at the same level?
Well, I think you would hit 5K, but only because of the MMR inflation thing.
Okay.
Like, where naturally MMR just increases over time, regardless of skill level.
Yeah, and that means I've gotten worse, basically.
Basically, yeah. Maybe you could keep up like the stagnation. But it's not. I don't know. That's not something that someone who paid for coaching would want. I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. If you don't have any other final questions, then think we should wrap things up.
Yeah, I think I'll go play a game of Dota.
Okay, cool.
And
That's
yeah,
what I
no,
have to hear.
not really any more questions.
Okay, that's fine. If you think of anything, just feel free to ask on Skype. At
Okay.
invite.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Well, yeah, I hope this was helpful. And yeah, good luck in your game, Stu.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks for the coaching.
All right, peace. Take care, dude.
Later.